Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. It is Monday, where we do Metrics Monday, Metric Madness on Monday. And I want to wish you all, I hope you all had a great weekend, enjoyed things. My weekend was scattered, bunch of different things, a lot of sports, a lot of metrics out there in the sports, first downs, goals, stuff like that. But today I want to talk about pre-transformation metrics and kind of talk about my journey when I would go into places and they would ask for metrics. And I'm going to explain a little bit why they may ask for that and some of the things you can ask for. But before that, I want to say thank you all again for helping us become like third ranked Agile coaching podcast under the FeedSpot channel ranking for Agile coaching in 2023. I appreciate it. I just got put up there. But I wanted to share one other thing that's, you do these things and how you measure stuff in life. My kid was supposed to wear a t-shirt today of something that showed kindness or sharing or supportive, and it could be blue or whatever. You know what he picked out? He picked out a t-shirt, and I got to do that more often. I got so many things to do. Of a 5 a.m. Mester Scrum t-shirt that I had put together on Shopify. And I got some samples, and he has one. And out of the blue, he decided, I'm going to wear this t-shirt, this 5 a.m. Mester Scrum t-shirt to school. One, because it was blue and they could wear a blue shirt. And two, because it was something that you could show kindness to people. And I was really touched by that. And the unexpected things that happen that you cannot measure happen throughout your lifetime. So I want to say thank you all for allowing me to do this for a while and something to enjoy to do. Anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about those pre-metrics. Why do companies want metrics? And we're going to talk about that. And this is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way so you can bring value to your customer, which sometimes they value the metrics. And we're going to talk about why. And some people don't like metrics, but we're going to talk about why they want metrics. And we do this so we can not work crazy hours and have a little fun along the way. And again, the fun part was actually doing the show and watching my kid wear that t-shirt. That was pretty cool. Oh, and don't forget, we have a newsletter that we're trying to come out with, and I still haven't put one out this week or last week. I didn't put one out. I need to put it out. Anyway, so why do they ask for metrics? You know why? Ask them. So how did you measure growth and improvement for your teams that you had, quote, waterfall? Everybody wants to do waterfall project management in the past. How did you measure that stuff? A lot of times they don't have any measurements. They're really kind of hoping that this agile transformation with the velocity and issues and charts and stuff will give them something they can show that they're progressing because they never had anything before. And you have to take that into account. Now, some do, some don't. Like I mentioned in the feed, like maybe they count lines of code written or number of test cases run or something like that. It reminds me, I got to turn off my phone, make sure my phone doesn't go off by accident. There we go, mute the phone. Things like that may happen. But a lot of these companies don't have any kind of metrics. I'll be honest with you. Wouldn't you ask them how they do it? Now, there's some companies I was a project manager / Scrum Master / delivery lead for. But I always ask companies I would come in, so well, how did you measure stuff before? And have a frank, honest conversation. There are a lot of managers that will avoid telling you anything because they have no idea, right? And you'll pick up on that, right? You really don't have any measurements how you measure your team's progress in the past. Now, some would be projects being accomplished, like a POAM chart or something that their project manager would do. And I've used that in the past too, because I would look at that stuff. I know how to read those charts. I know how to look at it. And like for one company, every project they worked on was a month to 6 months behind schedule, just continuously. And even, every place I go into has that problem. And that's their measurement. Everything's behind schedule. There is no measurement in between. It's the delivery or whatever, or how much you spent, how much you cost. Cost is not a measurement of value, by the way. Though the government will do that because it's a cost plus contract. And that's a different story, which we could talk about another day if you're interested. But it's about they don't have anything, right? And they're really hoping that Scrum or Kanban or whatever will give them some metrics that they can put on a chart and send up the chain. So it's important for you to understand why they're asking it. So there's so many people out there are like, oh, metrics are evil, but you have to understand why they are asking for those metrics. And you have to understand where they sit. As a manager, they feel worried that they don't have the metrics to share with their bosses. So they're worried about that too. So sometimes they implement Scrum and the transformation in these big companies. So they have a metric, whether it be velocity, whether it be time to work done, smaller increments of information. Because I'll tell you, all these big projects too, they would have these long projects. And even then, when we like, well, we need to know month to month how we're doing. And it's a guessing game, right? Because they're not delivering product per se. Though when I ran my programs, I made all my teams deliver product every month. Even if we weren't doing Scrum, I said, I need product. If you're going to say you got it something achieved, I want to see what that is, right? So I did my own little large sprint reviews, monthly sprint reviews, if you want to call them that. But I made everyone do that and everyone share. Different story. But again, back to this pre-transformation. A lot of these managers want to do the transformation, a lot of these companies, because they don't have any metrics. So it's important that you have a discussion with the managers. How do you currently measure your teams? Do you? Now, be careful that you don't get them all sensitive, because you'll find out real quick whether or not they really do measure anything. Say you got, if they don't share with you their project poems and their scheduling and all that, they're hiding stuff, right? They don't feel good about it. And your job is to help them feel better about how the teams they're working, progressing towards delivering stuff. And that's one of the goals there. But on this metric Monday, I wanted to give you a reason behind sometimes these metrics and why they ask for it. So there's these diehard coaches out there say, metrics are evil, these agile people, you don't do it. I said, but you got to understand why they're asking for it. Just because you want to take the high road and say, oh, metrics are bad and how we measure velocity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it gets abused. Yeah, it gets done. But sometimes they really need that, right? And make them feel comfortable. And that's an easy, as in the marketing offer, it's an easy win, right? It's to make them feel good so they can feel like the transformation process. It may take 3-6 months to a year to get there. At least they got something early in the win pile, right? So you need to balance early wins, have them be able to see how growth is going. And you need to be honest with you as a Scrum Master and Agile coach, you need to be measure your growth path too for what you're doing isn't adding value. But sometimes you can't measure things like my kid wearing the t-shirt. That stuff just pops up. That's what you call explosive growth on the thing. So I wanted to share that with you. Check in when you go into a company. Find out how they measured things before. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they did. Maybe you can use your agile team and try to fit into what they previously measured and how they track things. And maybe they didn't have things organized to track all that stuff. Maybe that's what you're bringing to the table in addition to helping them transform their teams and operation into an agile growth mindset. So there's a little balance of that. Don't be one thing or the other, but understand what your customer needs. Ask them questions. Don't insult them and make them feel afraid and stuff like that. Like if they really didn't have any metrics before, don't try to counter them. You never had any metrics before, so why are you asking me to measure? Don't do that. Just know that you never knew how your teams were doing in the past. I could get a quick win for myself by providing you with some metrics or matching what we're doing to metrics you had in the past to kind of show how that growth is, or transfer them off the number of line code made, the number of test cases run into more of an agile, the more product delivered, right? That actually got value, which brings value to the customer. So I just want to share that with you. Be mindful why they're asking for metrics in that pre-transformation, why they want to go for transformation. Kind of skate around. Are they measuring anything, or do they have measurements, stuff like that? Maybe they do surveys. Maybe they're trying to have how they do evaluations, things like that. How can you help them evaluate people? Maybe you need to come up with new metrics that don't exist, like how well people help other people. That's another metric which can be useful. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, because there is evaluations coming up towards the end of the year, and we'll talk about what can metrics we can develop to help you support managers and people in there and individuals measure how they are growing, right? When it comes to year-end evaluation. So we'll do that next week. I'll write that down on my notes for something to share how you can use metrics in an agile standpoint. A couple of metrics you can use to help track that, measure that, things like that, what you can do. All right. With that, I want to say again, thank you all for making us the third ranked Agile coaching podcast out there on their feed spot. Appreciate it very much. It's pretty cool. I never thought I'd be at that level per se. I never did, actually. I just do it for the heck of it. And thank you all. And I wish you the best. Have a great week. We will see you tomorrow when we talk about 10xing your career and things you can do and 10xing your teams. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy your Monday, and welcome back to the work week. Ha ha.